All right, let's get to the show, part of the show that I'm most interested in talking about, which is this frickin' crypto reserve. Let's put the Trump truth up here on the screen. He announces a U.S. crypto reserve that will elevate this critical industry after years of corrupt attacks by the Biden administration, which is why my executive order on digital assets directed the presidential working group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, SOL, and ADA. I will make sure the U.S. is the crypto capital of the world. We are making America great again. He followed that up, Emily, with another one saying, oh, obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, other valuable cryptocurrencies, will be the heart of the reserve. I also love Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we've got 5 different crypto assets here that, this has been floated for a while by Trump, and now he's actualizing it and announcing which particular coins are going to benefit from U.S. taxpayer dollars or funding being used to pump up the prices of these things to be held in a crypto asset reserve. Basically, the problem for a bunch of crypto billionaires is that they're holding these quote unquote assets and there isn't enough liquidity for them to cash out their bag. And now the US taxpayer will backstop those assets so that these crypto billionaires can cash in. And the guy who is, has been in charge of putting this together is a guy named David Sachs, who's a billionaire. He's one of the billionaires who, was involved in Silicon Valley Bank and cried to the federal government that they needed a bailout when that was on the verge of collapse, and has, definite conflict of interest here in terms of which coins are being selected. So first, let's put C8 up on the screen, and you can see the way that these crypto coins have, of course, they went through the roof. They soared after Trump revealed which coins were going to be part of this. And then with regard to David Sachs and the reported conflicts of interest here, which is a really fancy way for just saying that he's, completely enriching himself, put this up on the screen. This individual, Derek Martin, I checked all of this out, by the way, and it's accurate, has a massive conflict of interest with this announcement. Folks should be aware of new level of corruption. Put the next piece up on the screen. His company, Craft Ventures, has invested in a startup called Bitwise Invest since at least 2017. He's listed as the primary investor. And just so happens that the main crypto coins going into the Crypto Strategic Reserve Fund just so happen to match Bitwise's top 5 crypto holdings. So incredible self-dealing here. I mean, corruption really doesn't begin to describe this digital asset reserve, even putting David Sachs aside. I mean, this is just a heist. It's just theft. It's just robbing the Treasury to elevate the price of these completely bullshit, meaningless, talk about a Ponzi scheme. Like, crypto is the ultimate Ponzi scheme. There's not even a pretense of these things have value in and of themselves. And yet we're using federal government resources to backstop the price of these tokens so that, insiders can cash in, which that already appears like that is happening, and so that a bunch of billionaires can cash out their holdings. I mean, it is a classic pump and dump, but using, federal government resources in order to do that, and coming at the same time as they're like, we got to cut Social Security. Like, it's totally insane. I almost don't have words for it.
This is a genuine problem for Sachs, and one that he anticipated, because he says he divested all of his crypto holdings before taking government office. But what's interesting about that, and Ryan pointed this out and asked him about it on X, and I'm curious what you make of this, because, I mean, it seems like if you're someone who's been into crypto for years and you're a major stakeholder in the crypto world, you would probably have the investments that you just outlined. Like, it's not surprising that that's where Trump went with the reserve, and that's somebody who isn't, you know what I mean? It seems to me like that genuinely, coincidence wouldn't be the right word, just sort of, it's a logical place where your money would be parked. And I think that speaks to the bigger problem with having a crypto czar, is that he has companies, right? And you correct me, I know you're more into this than I am, but he has companies where the companies are invested, obviously, in crypto. It doesn't matter if you divest, but if your companies are invested in crypto, and we don't know that he's divested from those companies. I sort of doubt he's divested from those companies.
Correct. Yes.
That seems like a huge, huge problem.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then, I mean, also the other problem is that who knew in advance which coins were going to be pumped up by this thing? And, someone noted there was a position that was taken, 50 times leverage, the tune of $200 million long in, I think it was Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Well, to me, it seems fairly obvious that the reserves would be Ethereum, Bitcoin, like some of the ones that are in there, which is sort of what I was saying. But it's like the timing.
Exactly. So
right?
This position was taken a day before the announcement. And 50 times leverage, meaning that if there was a 2% drop, all of those millions gone, wiped out. $200 million loss.
Yeah. And we don't know.
You're telling me that person didn't know? Like, come on. And it's not just this. Like, this is unbelievably naked just theft of the public resources, in my opinion. There's zero strategic reason why we need to hold these important, meaningless Ponzi scheme, quote unquote, assets, right? Zero justification for that whatsoever. Nothing that makes sense at all. But you also have a situation where, one individual who was being investigated by the SEC bought a bunch of Trump shitcoin, posted publicly about it, I think it was the largest, purchase of these tokens and investment in his like crypto scam. And then, lo and behold, the SEC dropped their investigation. Like the vehicle to just outright bribe Trump through his crypto coin. I mean, listen, politicians have been corrupt since the beginning of time. Nothing new about that. But this is a world historic level of theft and graft and just brazen pay-to-play corruption that has been enabled by crypto, and this is just like the latest iteration of that. We could put C10 up on the screen that has the details about this Chinese crypto entrepreneur, guy named Justin Sun. So they halted the fraud prosecution of this Chinese national who sent Trump millions and bragged about it so that to make sure he knew that he had invested $30 million in these crypto tokens. So it's paying off for him. CEO of Coinbase also benefited. The SEC is dismissing their lawsuit. That move came after Coinbase boosted Trump's crypto meme coin, donated $75 million to a pro-Trump super PAC, and chipped in $1 million to Trump's inauguration celebration. So presidency just completely for sale by these robber barons.
Well, and I think in the corruption front, I was going to say this earlier about Elon Musk and Starlink. Part of the problem with all of this right now is that there's this, they do have a sincere ideological, not always sincere, like Trump's I don't think is sincere. I don't think he sincerely gives a damn about crypto because he said it was a scam and that it could undermine the US dollar. And you have to, it's the same thing with him and TikTok, right? Like it was pretty nakedly transactional how his opinion on it flipped. Elon Musk has a sincere ideological belief. We were talking about his sort of like anarcho-capitalism flirtation before in crypto. Like he really does believe in it. And so then, and David Sachs certainly does legitimately believe in crypto. And so then you have this, you're just sort of being asked to trust that this is all for the good of this like ideological argument and not self-dealing. And with Starlink, it's interesting because Starlink is like a very cool technology. It's an awesome product and it may be the best for the FAA. We don't know though that it's because it has the best argument to the FAA for getting this contract in the same way that like, well, how is anyone supposed to believe that this is genuinely the right move for the strategic reserve and not self-dealing? You then just have to put your trust in Trump, Elon, in this case, David Sachs. And David Sachs will have this ideological reasoning, give all of these explanations, but it's really hard. You're just asking the public to say, yes, I trust that this was not about your portfolio, even though the public has seen that happen for decades. And that's what Trump is a response to, is seeing that happen for decades. He said, I alone know the system. I know the system and I alone can fix it. Yeah.
So Trump and Elon have a lot of like theoretical ideological divergences. The way that Trump positioned himself, certainly in 2016, but somewhat at this time as well, and the way Elon, portrays his ideology. But in just their commitment to theft of the public purse, they are completely united. And I do think that that is one of the most important like operating ideological commitments that you can see throughout this administration. Elon's primary goal, I think, he wants to be the world's first trillionaire, and he wants to use government money, our public taxpayer dollars, to fund SpaceX so he can get to Mars.
Yeah, he wants to go to Mars.
He wants to plunder the government so he can go to Mars. That's his like primary operative goal. And if that means grandma's gonna starve, and that means kids in Africa are gonna doesn't matter. That's his goal. Okay, just brazen theft of the public purse, so that he can go to Mars. Trump, wants to be wealthy on the tune of like an Elon Musk. I mean, Trump is obviously an incredibly rich guy, but he's not like Elon Musk to Peter Thiel rich.
Well, and that was debated too. I mean, what Trump's actual net worth was before these coins, as you did a great TikTok on how there's a few whales who are, at least as the time you did that TikTok, were holding the Trump coin. That's another example of like, we legitimately do not know if he knows who they are. Like, we don't know who they are. We know who like one or two of them are, but we don't know who they are. We don't know anything about that, and we don't know if he knows who they are.
Yeah.
So then you're just being asked to trust that Trump's net worth was jacked up as he was entering office anonymously by people who were just trying to make money, and it was like a baseball card deal. It was just really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and by having this shitcoin, anyone, whether it's the, Chinese crypto dude or anyone else, can just funnel millions of dollars into it, some portion of which go directly into Trump's pocket to get their way with the government.
Right.
So, he's robbing us. And then, the whole foreign policy direction of we're going to take Greenland, we're going to take Gaza, we're going to do, we're going to take half of Ukraine or whatever. Like, that's all about his benefit for his family and Elon Musk as well, but a whole cadre of oligarch billionaires who can, also rob those countries and benefit themselves as well. So it's a pretty consistent commitment across the government, and certainly helps us to understand, all this, why are Trump and Elon able to get along so well, and why hasn't there been a falling out? Like, because they both have a commitment to, stripping the government for parts and exploiting whatever they can in order to enrich themselves and pursue their own goals. But I think their common commitment to theft of the public purse is a bond that they share, and part of what is keeping that relationship together.
Although I think Trump's primary concern right now is his historical legacy, and where those two things depart will be interesting. So when
you think he cares?
I think he cares that he will be looked at as like a great, walking around having his people call him the peacemaker in chief. Like, I think he does at this point care about how history sees him. And that's dangerous because it gets to, just posturing. And every president does that. But like, to what extent is this going to just be a public relations campaign? Like, is the presidency going to be a public relations campaign? I think what he cared about first was leaving office with money. So now that he has that covered, he doesn't want to go to prison. So there's that too. That could factor into the conversation about a potential third term, as Bannon, I think, sadly, is pushing. But I think he wants to be perceived as someone who healed the country. I think he desperately wants to be perceived that way. And I think where that departs with Elon Musk is going to be a problem for Trump. But what we've seen so far is that it hasn't been.
Yeah.
To your point about the money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, He really cares about the optics. That's why he's obsessed with polling and obsessed with how he won a mandate in the popular vote and all of that. So Elon could potentially be a problem to that down the road. But even when we've seen breaks so far in public perception of Elon Musk, Trump has not. This gets to your theory, right? Trump has not departed from him.
Yeah.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.